A 32-year-old race car driver died in a crash while testing an experimental car of his own design at a track in Goodwood, England, on 2nd June 1970. Many of you might not be aware of who he was, but his creation is loved across all over the world. Today, we are going to watch the history of Mr. Bruce Mclaren. Born in Auckland, New Zealand, Mclaren had a childhood hip disease that kept his left leg shorter than the right. By the age of 14, he had fully recovered. Bruce's parents, Les and Ruth Mclaren, owned a service station in Remuera, Auckland. His dad was a motorcycle enthusiast but left racing bikes because of an accident and started racing in cars. Bruce's racing career began at the age of 14 when his dad restored an aging Austin 7 Ulster and gave it to Bruce to enter his first ever competition, which was just a hill climb in 1952. After almost 2 years, he entered his first official race. He moved from his Austin to a Ford 10 Special to an Austin Haley and finally to F2 Cooper Climax Sports. He rised up quickly. From the start of his career, from the year 1952 to 1957, he was runner-up in almost 8 New Zealand Championship Series in 1957. He was doing so well that in 1958 he was noted by an Australian driver named Jack Brabham, who later invited Bruce to drive for him. New Zealand International Grand Prix organization selected Bruce for its Driver to Europe scheme designed to give some experience to the nourishing drivers. In 1959, Bruce joined his mentor on the Cooper racing team and stayed with him for the next 7 years. At the age of 22, he became the youngest ever winner of a Formula One race, from competing in F2 and entering in the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, in which F2 and F cars competed together. He came first amongst F2 and fifth overall. Bruce won the 1962 Monaco Grand Prix, eventually finishing a fine third in the championship that year. The next year, he founded Bruce Mclaren Motor Racing Limited, which is simply known in the Formula One Championship as Mclaren. After the establishment of Mclaren, Bruce decided to leave the Coopers at the end of 1965, and as he had his own company, he announced it as one of the GP racing teams. Starting from his career in 1952 till the year 1963, he raced so well in the industry that he made his own racing team only within a time of 11 years. They entered in the Canadian American Challenge Cup. In 1967, they won 5 of 6 races, and in 1968, 4 out of 6. The following year, McLaren proved to be unbeatable, winning all 11 races, and in 1966, the team McLaren won the prestigious 24-hour race at Le Mans in a Ford GT40. Bruce Mclaren's vision extended far beyond the driver's seat. Bruce was an automotive genius. He is one of only 2 men ever to win a Grand Prix in a racing car bearing his name. McLaren had been at the top of the international racing world for more than a decade now, and Bruce had already started designing his own cars. But one foul day, during a test run at Goodwood on 2nd June 1970 of his Can-Am car, the tail section of Bruce's M8D lifted at 170 miles per hour, which lost the aerodynamic downforce of the car and made the car uncontrollable, which spun, left the track and hit a bunker used as a flag station. Bruce tragically lost his life. He was just 32. In a way to tribute Bruce, after 12 days, 2 McLaren M8Ds were on the grid for the start of the Can-Am series. The McLaren team won 9 out of 10 races that year. According to an article about his fatal accident in the New York Times, McLaren was among the wealthiest driver designers in the sport and was going to take retirement from driving to give more time to his business side of his racing interest. From the book, The Cockpit, referring to the death of a teammate, Timmy Mayer, McLaren had written, "The news that he had died instantly was a terrible shock to all of us. But who is to say that he had not seen more, done more, and learned more? in his few years than many people do in a lifetime. To do something well is so worthwhile that to die trying
better cannot be foolhardy. Indeed, life is not measured in years alone, but in achievement. That'd make a good epitaph, wouldn't it? So, on that beautiful summer day, on that racetrack, I did more than leave a name and a memory. Hopefully, I became an inspiration.